15 gospel legends who cheated on their partners. The gospel industry sells salvation, but behind the pulpit, the truth is often sinful. We grew up watching these legends. John P. Key, Marvin Sapp, the Winans dynasty preach fidelity and purity. Yet private lives were riddled with extramarital trespasses, domestic turmoil, and shocking moral failures. Tonight, Black Excellence Legends dismantles the myth of impeccable purity to expose the adultery, abuse, and cover-ups that nearly destroy these ministries. Prepare for the ultimate dichotomy. Hit the subscribe button, sound off below. Who fell the hardest? Kirk Franklin. Kirk Franklin didn't just write gospel music, he launched a seismic shift. As an iconoclast, he fused urban rhythms with profound messages of faith, establishing a new paradigm within the sacred music dominion. Millions found their worship invigorated by his sound. Yet the same dynamic spiritual leader faced a profound personal torment that threatened the very foundation of his life: his marriage to Tammy Collins. During the genesis of his career, amidst mounting acclaim and relentless touring, Franklin battled private demons rooted in his past. His long-standing addiction to pornography became a catalyst, culminating in a devastating marital transgression. Though he kept the precise details private, Franklin unreservedly acknowledged committing adultery, an action that brought his union to the verge of total fracture. His private mistake carried a public weight, challenging the expectation of impeccability placed upon faith leaders. Instead of opting for concealment or damage control, Franklin chose radical introspection. His 2005 album, Hero, serves as an artistic document of this intense period, with tracks that were, in essence, a husband's plea for clemency and a narrative of broken covenant. He and Tammy embarked on a journey of intense rehabilitation, seeking counseling and engaging in deep spiritual communion. This commitment to total transparency, coupled with the active pursuit of professional help, became his unique vanguard. Today, their decades-spanning partnership stands as a compelling testament to perseverance and healing. Franklin's willingness to discuss his moral lapses without pretense fundamentally altered the discourse in Christian entertainment. He didn't just sing about the possibility of renewal, he provided a blueprint for achieving it. His influence extends beyond music. It's enshrined in the story of a public figure who chose integrity over image, proving that transformation requires total surrender. Shirley Caesar. Shirley Caesar is nothing less than the sovereign of gospel music. With decades dedicated to her vocation and a host of awards, her venerated public stature appears virtually untouchable. Known for songs that summon genuine revival, she presents an image of moral impregnability. Yet, beneath this monumental exterior lies a quiet contrast, steeped in murmurs about the private turbulence of her early life. The widespread speculation centers on her antecedent marriage, predating her high-profile union with Bishop Harold I. Williams. Gospel lore suggests that this initial partnership met its dissolution due to unfaithfulness, a profound marital strain. Crucially, these claims remain unsubstantiated. Caesar has never produced documentation or offered a public commentary to corroborate the rumors that have, for years, lingered, mostly obscured by her professional mastery. Caesar's response to this scrutiny was an act of profound discipline. She chose calculated restraint, opting to elevate her artistic output and ministry above the clamor of gossip. In an age where Christian figures are often pressured to offer explicit catharsis, Caesar established a different precedent. Her unwavering focus on her calling allowed her spiritual fruits to be the defining metric of her character, diverting attention from any alleged faults. Her enduring success is a testament to this strategic discretion. The private life of Caesar, though occasionally questioned, never achieved the traction needed to derail her position as a guiding moral compass. She proved that one could maintain conviction and powerful stature without completely exposing the soul's innermost lapses. Shirley Caesar's ultimate legacy is not just her sound, but her ability to possess the spiritual dominion by steadfastly safeguarding her personal sphere. John P. Key. John P. Key, often hailed as the Prince of Gospel, commands a powerful aura in worship. His music, particularly with the New Life Community Choir, is celebrated for its dynamic intensity and potent emotional authenticity. Yet at the height of his career in the 1990s, Key was living a staggering paradox. He was a beacon of faith on stage, but privately indulged in deep moral duplicity, leading a clandestine existence that was completely at odds with his message. Key's private infidelity was not a singular event. He admitted to multiple acts that comprehensively shattered his relationship with his wife, Felice Sampson Key. His personal crisis did not break in the tabloids. Instead, the rupture unfolded within the sacred confines of therapy and pastoral settings. The ultimate turning point arrived when Felice, confronted by the devastating consequence, issued a stark ultimatum: a definitive course correction or the total dissolution of their union. This moment instigated a profound spiritual conversion. Rather than retreating into protective silence, Key chose radical vulnerability. He made the difficult decision to fully embrace the painful narrative of his lapses. He stepped away from the performance circuit to prioritize rigorous introspection and restoration. His 1995 album, Show Up, serves as a musical symbolism of this rebirth. Crucially, he did not just seek personal absolution. He utilized his journey as a cautionary blueprint, even launching his Not Guilty conference to provide counsel for others ensnared in similar traps of hypocrisy. Today, his marriage stands as an enduring cornerstone of his ministry. The magnitude of his public ownership of his flaws established a new ministerial paradigm. John P. Key proved that true fortitude is not found in perfection, but in the unflinching humility required to confront one's deepest frailties. Hezekiah Walker. Hezekiah Walker stands as a progenitor in contemporary gospel, widely dubbed the pastor of hip-hop. His colossal contributions, particularly with the Love Fellowship Choir, fused traditional faith anthems with urban rhythms, creating a sound that energized worship across the nation. For years, his marriage to vocalist Monique Walker presented a picture-perfect facade of marital bliss, a visible model for the church community. This image of domestic perfection crumbled dramatically in 2013, culminating in a publicly aired dissolution. Although Walker himself never offered an explicit cause for the split, the atmosphere quickly filled with speculation and unverified reports from media and community members. These allegations pointed toward deep discord, with specific claims of unfaithfulness being widely circulated alongside more controversial rumors regarding his personal life, claims he vehemently rebutted. Walker responded to the intense scrutiny not with a tell-all sermon or confessional album, but with a measured reserve. His deliberate opacity on the specific details of the collapse was viewed as both protective of his former spouse and daughter and deeply frustrating to fans who expected full disclosure from a spiritual leader. His subsequent musical output focused heavily on themes of inner sustenance and divine faithfulness, interpreted by many as a musical commentary on his personal introspection. Despite the painful personal upheaval, Walker's ministerial influence remains enduring. His story highlights a significant dichotomy: the intense pressure placed on public spiritual figures whose human frailties are often subject to intense, unyielding examination. Walker's complexity lies in his ability to maintain his vast platform and continued reverence, even as his personal narrative remains partially shrouded in silence. Kim Burrell. Kim Burrell is an absolute virtuoso, possessing an unmatched vocal agility that allowed her to define a unique, stylistic jazz-gospel fusion. Hailed as one of the genre's most technically gifted artists, her brilliance on stage is unquestioned. However, her professional mastery has long been counterbalanced by personal polarization, creating a public enigma around her private life, particularly following the dissolution of her union with fellow musician Mayan Butler. The separation, which concluded in 2006, was conducted with distinct secrecy. Neither Burrell nor Butler publicly detailed the cause, a vacuum that was instantly filled with widespread conjecture. Gossip and community chatter swiftly escalated the quiet split into a topic of intense discussion, fueled by unconfirmed allegations of extramarital liaisons. For years, Burrell was subject to relentless, tabloid-style scrutiny regarding her antecedent commitment to monogamy, a harsh appraisal amplified by her deeply controversial 2016 sermon, which served as a catalyst for wider criticism. Crucially, no solid verification of the lurid claims ever emerged. Burrell's response was a calculated act of defiance, total demurral. Unlike contemporaries who sought absolution through public confession, she maintained an ironclad reserve. This intentional silence became a source of significant controversy, leading some audiences to question the ethical alignment between her stringent pulpit preaching and her veiled private affairs. Her enduring story is a compelling case study in the disproportionate scrutiny faced by women in sacred leadership. Burrell's legacy is thus characterized by a striking contradiction. The vessel of unparalleled musical gift, whose personal judgment remains a source of division, a virtuoso defined by the power of her voice and the opacity of her personal history. Fred Hammond. Fred Hammond is regarded as a pillar in contemporary worship, the architect responsible for foundational anthems like No Weapon. His ubiquitous sound, a powerful fusion of modern rhythms and spiritual gravity, earned him profound respect across denominations. For 2 decades, his partnership with Kim Hammond was a private but seemingly stable fixture in the gospel sphere. However, their union reached a quiet terminus in 2011, triggering intense speculation that was handled without a single official pronouncement. The cause of their separation was never explicitly detailed, yet gospel insiders noted several circumstantial indicators. These included Kim's cryptic social media posts containing veiled allusions to deep wounding and estrangement, coupled with Hammond's physical relocation from Chicago to Dallas. These events fueled persistent murmurings that alleged extramarital misconduct and a growing emotional rift had fatally wounded the matrimony. Instead of employing his pulpit for a public outpouring, Hammond chose stoicism. He did not use his platform to seek vindication or absolution. Instead, he transformed his trauma into cathartic artistry. His 2014 recording, I Will Trust, acted as a visceral musical medium for processing heartache. The collection intentionally stripped away romantic overtones, focusing solely on devotion to the divine as the only source of stability. This reticence and commitment to processing pain outside of the public eye made him both venerable and enigmatic. Hammond's trajectory exemplifies a distinct approach to ministerial survival. By rigidly compartmentalizing his private affairs and channeling his pain into songs of strength, he successfully weathered the personal storm. His enduring position is a testament to his mettle, a leader who allowed his worship to speak when his voice was reserved, defining a path to spiritual maturity through suffering. Marvin Sapp. Marvin Sapp possesses one of gospel's most iconic and resonant voices, an artist whose work explores the profound themes of heartbreak and divine deliverance. His 2-decade matrimony to Dr. Melinda Sapp was the bedrock of his spiritual exemplar. She served as his manager and a fiercely loyal partner, establishing an apparent foundation of impeccable strength against the pressures of fame. Despite the public portrayal, disquiet was circulating within the community long before Melinda's tragic passing in 2010. Persistent chatter suggested that Sapp, during his extensive global itineraries, was involved in alleged extramarital misconduct. These claims, while unverified, created a sense of tension around their union. Dr. Melinda Sapp steadfastly utilized her public position to insulate her husband from the innuendo, remaining a fierce defender until her final days. The subsequent tragedy of her death redirected the entire public narrative. Sapp's genuine and poignant public anguish drew widespread sympathy, immediately eclipsing the years of prior speculation. His signature hit, "Never Would Have Made It," took on new meaning, becoming an anthem of survival rooted in his experience of profound loss, not just the temptation of the flesh. Sapp's authority today is built not on a public disclosure of past indiscretions, but on the sanctified weight of his endurance through widowhood. His standing in the church remains one of deep esteem, a venerated figure whose personal sorrow became the ultimate vehicle for his redemption, confirming that the human story is one of complex vulnerability interwoven with divine support. BeBe Winans. BeBe Winans comes from the illustrious Winans dynasty, becoming one of the first and most prominent gospel artists to cross over successfully into mainstream R&B. His partnership with Sister Cece was celebrated, yet the veneer of the family's impeccable public image began to rupture with the publicized end of his 16-year matrimony to Debbie Winans Clark in 2003. The divestiture of their relationship, though handled with relative privacy by the family, became a major disruption for the genre. Court proceedings eventually exposed the documentable breakdown of the matrimonial bond. Reports from the time indicated that purported transgressions by BeBe, specifically adulterous behavior, were a significant contributor to the schism. This was the moment the weight of the family's expectations collided violently with the harsh realities of personal fallibility. The subsequent years brought further ordeal. In 2009, Winans faced highly publicized legal charges related to domestic battery filed by his former spouse, charges which were ultimately dismissed. However, the combination of the tumultuous divorce and the later legal entanglement severely tested the audience's perception of his moral character. Winans responded by seeking refuge in his lyrical solace. His music during this period often articulated themes of finding shelter from relentless public censure. His enduring professional trajectory is a testament to the power of the Winans familial legacy and his undeniable musical gift. BeBe Winans navigated this period of profound private upheaval by choosing preservation over explanation. His personal narrative, marked by both great success and human frailty, continues to inform his vocation, ensuring his position remains secure despite the spectacle of his past. LaShun Pace. LaShun Pace, a luminary from the ancestral Pace family, possessed one of the genre's most raw and emotive voices. Her spiritual delivery, often channeling the traditional choir sound, resonated with profound intensity. Unlike many peers who sought to project an image of imperturbable perfection, Pace's public narrative was dominated by personal turbulence, notably the difficulties surrounding the dissolution of her domestic union. The strife of her private life, including the abrupt end of her matrimony, was never completely hidden. Rather, Pace approached her shortcomings with candid admission. Though specific allegations of ethical failing, such as adultery, were often kept veiled by the media, Pace consistently chose to share the core truth of her humanity, that she was not immune to missteps. She spoke openly from the pulpit and in song about errors made in her marriage, presenting her experience as a classic example of human frailty. This radical honesty served as her therapeutic medium. Pace transformed herself into a vessel for the flawed believer. Her testimony was the antithesis of the polished gospel persona. It was authentic, messy, and full of vulnerability. This created a powerful accessibility for her audience, who saw in her not a perfect saint, but a spiritual survivor. Her moral courage was demonstrated not by the absence of sin, but by her willingness to publicly confront its consequences. Pace's unconventional trajectory secured her enduring place as a prophetic voice. She successfully redefined the boundaries of ministerial integrity, demonstrating that the power of the gospel lies not in the speaker's impeccability, but in the boundless nature of divine mercy. Her powerful life story continues to inspire admiration for its profound depth of truth. Marvin Winans. Marvin Winans, the patriarch of the Winans lineage and founding pastor of Perfecting Church, holds a central place in gospel history. His vocal gifts and esteemed authority were once matched by his powerful partnership with BeBe Winans. However, their 1995 seismic implosion of their 16-year matrimony exposed the severe vulnerability beneath the surface of the Winans mythology. The dissolution was not shrouded in the ambiguity chosen by some of his peers. BeBe Winans provided a devastating first-person account in her autobiography and subsequent interviews, unequivocally stating that Marvin's recurrent extramarital trespasses were the sole cause. This decision to detail the trauma publicly created a chronic wounding to Marvin's image that was inescapable. Marvin, opting for calculated silence, never offered a public statement to repudiate the veracity of her damning claims, letting his ex-wife's pain define this chapter. Marvin Winans was able to weather the storm largely due to his pastoral leverage. Unlike the performing artists in his family, his primary source of authority was his vocation as a spiritual leader of a large congregation, granting him a degree of insulation. He chose to place the primacy of his ministry output above personal rebuttal. His music and sermons shifted, reflecting themes of spiritual endurance and deliverance, allowing him to channel personal fallout into collective respite. Despite the painful personal failings, Marvin Winans retained his esteem and influence. His complex narrative serves as a definitive study in the separation of the human frailty from the divinity of the calling. The enduring impact of his personal scandal lies not just in the trespasses themselves, but in the eloquent and painful account of the wife who refused to allow the story to remain silent. Yolanda Adams. Yolanda Adams is widely recognized as the sovereign of contemporary gospel, reigning supreme in her vocal domain. Her powerful impact successfully transcended the genre, earning her an esteemed position that few contemporaries achieve. Her matrimony to former NFL player Tim Crawford was her subsequent and most public union, lasting from 1997 to 2004. This contentious dissolution was far from private, quickly devolving into extensive litigation. The legal battle was marked by counter-allegations from both sides. Adams successfully obtained a restraining order against Crawford, citing domestic abuse. However, during the proceedings, disputes arose, and unsubstantiated claims of Adams' own infidelity were alleged by Crawford's camp. Adams deliberately focused her public narrative on the issue of abuse, effectively managing to shift the conversation away from the unverified claims of her marital missteps. Adams cemented her persona as a courageous victim who sought to vindicate her position. She utilized her immense spiritual platform not for a personal rebuttal of the cheating rumors, but to counsel and offer a sanctuary for other women enduring similar ordeals. The subsequent trauma of the highly publicized split allowed her to define her legacy by her resilience and fortitude. She became an unflinching symbol of strength, demonstrating that facing profound personal pain does not diminish one's calling. Her enduring trajectory is a testament to the power of a carefully constructed narrative. By positioning herself as a survivor of an immense adversity, Yolanda Adams engineered a triumph of public perception. She maintained her spiritual authority and remains a defining figure whose complex human experience ultimately only amplified the power of her divinity and message of hope. Rance Allen. Rance Allen, renowned for his soaring vocal artistry that injected rock-inflected energy into the gospel genre, stands as a musical iconoclast. Yet his inclusion in a discussion centered on marital failings is significant because he serves as the unflinching counterpoint to every other name mentioned. For over 5 decades, Allen, a respected bishop in COGIC, maintained an unwavering life of rectitude. In a world where gospel pioneers often faced tumultuous personal lives and seismic public scandals, Rance Allen and his wife Ellen represented the zenith of unblemished commitment. Their matrimony was characterized by an unparalleled steadfast devotion that resisted the intense pressures of fame and ministry. Unlike his peers, whose complex human frailties were dramatically exposed, Allen's public and private domains aligned with remarkable consistency. The longevity of his relationship was not merely a passive occurrence, but an active demonstration of discipline and allegiance. The absence of acrimony or public dispute throughout his 50-year union turned his personal life into a quiet but powerful ministry tribute to the sanctity of the marriage vow. The quiet dignity with which he conducted his affairs set him apart from the high drama that defined the personal narratives of many of his contemporaries. Rance Allen's legacy is unique. He is the rare exemplar who required no public redemption from extramarital trespasses. He remains an enduring figure whose quiet life of moral consistency lends tremendous stature to his spiritual and artistic contributions. His unconventional position in this list is therefore a profound statement that unwavering fidelity is possible, even at the zenith of gospel prominence. Donnie McClurkin. Donnie McClurkin is an acclaimed global sentinel of gospel, lending his profound authority to the genre. While the focus of this series is typically marital transgression, McClurkin's inclusion highlights a singular controversy concerning his unconventional personal life that mirrors the intense scrutiny faced by his peers. McClurkin has admitted to prior sexual activity, which led to the birth of a son, and later declared his current state of celibacy. His public debate regarding his past involvement in homosexual activity and subsequent self-proclaimed deliverance has made his narrative uniquely fraught. Though he never entered a legal union from which he could deviate, his life became a highly politicized and polarizing case study in moral dichotomy within the conservative church domain. He did not cheat on a wife. Rather, his history itself was viewed as a trespass against the expected standard of impeccable purity held by his audience. McClurkin responded to this trial by leveraging his own story as a demonstration of spiritual deliverance. He positioned his persona not as a figure of controversy, but as a living testament to the possibility of change, often using his platform to counsel others grappling with similar issues. His self-imposed standard of celibacy became his enduring public shield, allowing him to bypass the need for redemption from conjugal betrayal and instead focus on a deeper form of spiritual triumph. The unconventional path of Donnie McClurkin confirms that personal survival in the gospel sphere is not guaranteed by the mere absence of a traditional scandal. His profound impact and maintained authority attest to his ability to convert deeply sensitive and divisive personal history into a compelling, albeit polarizing, ministerial narrative of hope. Andraé Crouch. Andraé Crouch, a visionary pioneering contemporary Christian music, CCM, possessed a transcendent genius that effortlessly leaps spiritual and cultural boundaries. His music, famously featured in secular cinema like The Color Purple, lent him immense stature within and beyond the church. He never entered a matrimonial union, thus succumbing to traditional marital trespass was impossible. Yet his inclusion here is defined by a seismic moral collapse of equal magnitude. The trial that tested the foundation of his ministry occurred in 1982. Crouch was arrested and detained on felony charges related to the possession of cocaine. This moment ignited an intense litigation ordeal and placed his personal discipline under unprecedented scrutiny. Though the charges were later dismissed due to issues concerning the custody of the evidence, the scandal sent shockwaves through the community, confirming that even the giants of the genre were vulnerable to personal vice and addiction. Crouch navigated the fallout by relying on the profound authority of his artistry. Instead of offering defenses or rebuttals regarding the specifics of the case, he simply continued to produce meaningful spiritual output. The community, recognizing the singular nature of his gift and the universality of temptation, ultimately offered him redemption and forgiveness. His music became a living testament to the core message of the gospel, that grace is available even after human failure. Crouch's enduring mythos demonstrates that spiritual survival is predicated on artistic genius and communal mercy. His life stands as a definitive chapter in gospel history, a visionary whose personal adversity tested but ultimately failed to diminish the transcendent power of his vocation. Daryl Coley. Daryl Coley was a cerebral virtuoso, a gifted artist whose inimitable fusion of classical, jazz, and gospel made him a celebrated minister of music. Yet the brilliance of his musical output was tragically intertwined with severe private turmoil. The rupture of his public image began in 1991 when he faced litigation following his arrest for alleged battery and violence against his wife, Patty Howard. The ensuing discord revealed profound marital distress. During the painful separation, unverified claims of extramarital deviation or cheating from Coley resurfaced, fueling the public scandal. However, the defining criterion of his private ordeal became the documented violence. The shock of this unconventional behavior led to Coley's hiatus, pushing him into seclusion for an extended period. Coley's eventual comeback and rehabilitation hinged on a redirection of his narrative. He openly discussed his psychological affliction, a bipolar diagnosis, effectively framing his past instability and failures as a battle with mental health rather than simply moral corruption. This powerful shift allowed the community to view his actions with greater empathy and understanding. He maintained that his personal conflict was a disease, not a lack of spiritual will. Despite the deep personal trauma suffered by his former spouse and the shadow of domestic strife, Coley's exceptional musical legacy endures. He stands as a tragic figure in the gospel sphere, a virtuoso whose life vividly illustrates the dichotomy between artistic genius and profound human vulnerability. Daryl Coley was a musical virtuoso, a gifted artist whose fusion of gospel and jazz earned him immense acclaim. Yet his brilliance was shadowed by a public scandal in the 1990s, involving allegations of marital discord and domestic violence against his former wife. Coley later returned, attributing his past actions and extended hiatus to his bipolar diagnosis, successfully shifting his narrative to one of mental health survival. But here is the critical question for Black Excellence Legends. Does a clinical diagnosis truly absolve a figure from the moral and ethical failures of domestic abuse? Or does it simply provide a convenient excuse?